A look at Ireland tonight on Close Up.
Now, the news specialists. Gary Justice, Susan Hutchison, Wayne Cody, Harry Wappler, Chopper 7. From the newsroom in Seattle, this is Channel 7 Eyewitness News Update.
Good evening. The wreckage of a small plane missing for more than 4 years was found today in East King County. The smashed Piper PA-28 was discovered in the Green River watershed near North Bend. King County police say the plane disappeared with 2 people on board in December of 1978.
A house on Lake Meridian is a total loss tonight after a fire investigators suspect was set by an arsonist. Essex Porter has the story.
The fire swept through one house on the shore of Lake Meridian and scorched another. Firemen were called to the scene just before 7:30 p.m. Firemen found no one home at the house where the fire started.
The smaller house, the one that the fire started in, will term a total loss, and the fire probably minimal damage on the house next door.
Any idea of what caused the fire?
It's under investigation at this time. As far as we can determine, we'll term it suspicious origin at this point.
Investigators sifted through the remains to find evidence the blaze was deliberately set. There is an unconfirmed report witnesses may have seen an arsonist leaving the house just before the fire was reported. Lucille Caldwell lives 2 houses away.
Well, I heard a whoosh, boom, and I looked out and I saw the flames and reflected in the tree. And I looked over this way, and it was awful.
It must have been really frightening.
It was terribly. I'm still shaken.
Fire officials have not yet estimated the monetary damages to either house. Fire investigators are still trying to determine the exact cause of the fire. No one was injured in the blaze. At Lake Meridian, Essex Porter, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
The next move in the Russell Maguire case belongs to the King County prosecutor. The Seattle millionaire walked out of federal court this afternoon a free man. Maguire was found not guilty of molesting an 8-year-old girl, not guilty by reason of insanity. Federal insanity rules don't allow the court to commit Maguire for mental treatment, but his family in Dallas might. The state also could seek to force treatment on Maguire. That decision will come through prosecutor's office.
In Washington, D.C., tired congressmen adjourned for the night a few hours ago without taking a final vote on a nuclear freeze resolution. Debate on the measure is expected to resume on Monday. The House has turned aside 2 attempts by opponents to weaken the measure. It's predicted the resolution will eventually pass in the House and then come up against stiffer opposition in the Senate. Meanwhile, in Olympia, the nuclear freeze debate has ended. The State House of Representatives voted today to send a message to Congress and the President, a message endorsing a nuclear freeze resolution. Today's vote was 66 to 28. The State Senate has already approved such a resolution.
The naval base at Bangor is home for 2 Trident-class submarines tonight. Moving at 10 knots, the second of the big subs cruised into Hood Canal this morning. Bill Clark reports.
The USS Michigan appeared to be in no hurry to come through the Hood Canal Bridge. Gone was the determination to make it to Bangor that marked the arrival of the first of the Trident subs last August. Gone, too, were the protesters. On shore, only a handful of spectators would mark the arrival. In the water, the only traffic was the Coast Guard escort and a Navy ship that brought a pilot to guide the sub its last few miles to the Bangor docks. The closest thing to a welcoming committee on shore were these flag-waving youngsters who warmed up with this salute to Chopper 7. At Bangor, the second sub in the Navy's Trident fleet would dock here at the Delta Pier. Just up the road, the first of the Trident subs, the USS Ohio, today was loading up its nuclear arsenal, preparing to head out into the Pacific for sea duty. Bill Clark, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
A string of bad luck for crab boats in the Bering Sea. That's what the skipper of one sunken vessel is calling it. Since February 14th, 4 Washington-based boats have gone under. Chris Lagueros has the story of the Seahawk.
Pictures of crab fishermen on board the Seahawk, taken by its skipper for the last couple of years, Bill Maxwell. It's a risky business. Maxwell found out just how dangerous it can be last Saturday. He says the ship's rudder failed and the boat veered hard to starboard.
Boat just turned hard over to the starboard, and There was, we had crab pots on board and a little ice on board, and they went, the boat just started to roll over without any warning. And from the time it started to roll over till the time it was completely upside down was no more than 2 minutes at the most.
Maxwell and 4 other crewmen scrambled into survival suits. The ship's cook panicked, left ship without her suit, and disappeared in the waves. For 2 hours, the men floated until they were picked up by the Coast Guard cutter Boutwell.
At the first hour, you were all right. After that, you started getting cold. One of the crew members' body temperature was down about 4 degrees to 94 something, and the Coast Guard man told me at 92 you lose consciousness. We wouldn't be alive today if it wasn't just for God's good wishes that that cutter was in the area at the time.
Maxwell admits there's been a string of bad luck in the Bering Sea. 4 Washington-based crabbers have sunk in the last month, but the skipper doesn't think that will continue.
I'll fish again. That's what I do, and I think everybody that does it knows the risks when they go up.
Chris Laguerres, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Near Odessa, Texas, 5 bodies have been recovered from the site of a propane gas pipe explosion. The victims include a woman and her 3 daughters, killed when the intense heat melted their mobile home. The searing heat of the flames kept firefighters at a distance until this morning. The pipeline burst when it was punctured by workers digging post holes. In Lebanon, troops from 4 nations continue their peacekeeping patrols tonight after 2 grenade attacks in 24 hours. 5 United States Marines and 9 Italian soldiers were wounded in the attacks. 3 of the Italians were seriously wounded. None of the Marines were hurt very seriously.